Today's episode is sponsored by Jane, a clinic management software and EMR. The Jane team knows that when your workday is spent providing care to your patients or clients, it can feel like there aren't enough hours in the day for the rest of your admin tasks. This can mean that scheduling appointments becomes after-hours tasks, turning what should be restful evenings into extra long work days. That's why Jane has designed user-friendly online booking, so you can give your patients the freedom to book their appointments at their own convenience, whether that's after hours or on weekends. Patients can also manage their appointments, fill out intake forms, and enable SMS and email reminders from their secure online portal, which saves you from having to manually do it. To see how Jane can help you reclaim your evenings and weekends, head to jane.app to book a personalized demo. Or if you're ready to get started, you can use the code WELLNESS1MO at the time of sign up for a 1-month grace period applied to your new account. Hi there, and welcome to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. I'm Kendall Hagensen.
And I'm Anna Rudel. We're thrilled to have you join us on this journey of creating innovative, patient-centered wellness centers.
As experienced health and wellness providers, we've seen firsthand the challenges of delivering comprehensive, holistic care to our patients.
That's why we created this podcast, to share the knowledge, strategies, and insights we've gained from our own experiences and from connecting with experts in the field.
Each episode, we'll dive into a different aspect of building and growing a successful wellness center, from developing a strong multidisciplinary team to implementing cutting-edge technologies and treatment approaches.
We'll also share practical tips, resources, and real-world examples to help you overcome common obstacles and streamline your processes.
Our goal is to empower you with the tools and confidence you need to create a thriving wellness center that truly makes a difference in your patients' lives.
So whether you're just starting out or looking to take your existing practice to the next level, you're in the right place.
Get ready to learn, grow, and be inspired. Let's create something amazing together.
Welcome to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. You've got Anna and I today, and we are going to talk about innovation and growth in your company and the many different ways that can look. Anna, great to see you.
Lovely to see you, Kendall. Full transparency to our listeners, we're feeling a little bit caffeinated and giggly after lunch. So hopefully we make sense.
Yeah, we'll try to keep it coherent here. How you doing, Anna? How's your week? What's been going well for you?
Yeah, so what's been going well? Well, today was really hit the ground running. I had to make the most of a full energy spurt this morning. So been sitting in front of the computer and banging out all the things, but I'm feeling quite creative right now. So going to try and harness that energy. How about you?
You've got to jump into that creative energy when it's there.
Mm-hmm.
I love that feeling. What's going well? I think, let's see. I mean, on a personal front, we've got Halloween around the corner and the kids just get so excited and they've had multiple opportunities to wear their costumes already. So it's not my favorite holiday, but by a long shot, but it's fun to see them get so excited. And so we're going to be focused on that this week.
Oh, yes. Do you get to take some time off work?
Well, I work from home on Thursdays, and so Halloween happens to be on Thursday. And so we'll do the trick-or-treating thing, and we're doing a costume contest at the clinic on Wednesday during our staff meeting. So these are the things that I like to do. Just invite people into play and joy. And, half the team is like, we always make it voluntary. And, some people won't dress up and some people will get super into it. And I'm going to bring my 5-pound little Yorkie Terrier, and I'm going to be Dorothy and she's going to be Toto. So,
so fun. So fun.
So fun. Okay. So innovation and growth. was just talking about this with some clients this week, and we thought this would be a really nice topic. You can take it a lot of different directions. There's a lot of different pathways to growth. I'm curious, Anna, maybe you want to share some of those thresholds in your clinic over time that you've made really a conscious choice to grow in whatever, or innovate in whatever way that meant to you.
That it's a really interesting question, that, because I find myself always on the brink of either throttling back because I know I don't want to grow the clinic into another location, for example. I'm very much of a perfectionist. But then how do I keep engaged? How do I keep that creativity going without constantly thinking, oh, I have to make things bigger and better, which is part of my personality, and I think part of an entrepreneur type personality. So yeah, I think one of the things that keeps me excited and keeps me engaged is figuring out different and better ways to do things within the business and creating different channels really for communication within the business and to our patients.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the biggest points we wanted to make today was around growth doesn't have to mean bigger physically, right? It doesn't have to mean a larger team. It doesn't have to mean more locations, and growth within what you've already built can really take on more of a form of innovation or efficiency, or our word for 2025 for our clinic is elevate. So how do we elevate ourselves as professionals? How do we elevate our modality teams? How do we elevate the company and the community? And right. So within what we've already created. So that looks like, if you're listening and agreeing okay, I don't want a bigger team, or I don't want more locations, but we need to be more profitable, or we need new energy, right? There's lots of things you can do around, okay, could you add a new service within the provider team that you already have? So it doesn't necessarily mean hiring more people, but a lot of healthcare providers in our field have multiple skill sets, and they could maybe offer another service that is unique that's not currently being offered. Also, and I think Anna will agree with me on this, but really taking a deep dive into your systems and how efficiently they are running.
Love a
And
system.
love a good system. That is a huge way to make it feel like you are growing, because you're becoming much more efficient, which allows you as the owner to step back, continue to step away from the day-to-day and be able to get more of the bird's eye view of what's actually going on.
I think the systems thing is really critical, and it was very interesting. I was making my employees do a DISC assessment recently, just for giggles. And when I did the assessment on myself, it was really actually appalling, because I realized how ADD I am in my normal day-to-day existence, and that I'm very, very scattered because I'm at a very, very high level. I like to think and create. But I realized that I'd put the systems in place, not for any other reason other than to make sure that my anxiety around making sure that those things are covered and they're done efficiently, they're done well. It's a really important mechanism, especially if you enjoy that innovation and that creation and that entrepreneurship, really, in many ways.
Yeah, it's vital. So if you're going to create, let's say add a new modality to your team or a new service, I think Anna and I's personality is, we can envision that new service and see all the ways that it could work, see all the ways that it could help the company. And it's really important to step back to that starting place and go, okay, well, let's build out the system for it first before we jump in and offer it.
Well, yes. And then having, when you have a team, having people follow along with your creative process can be a real challenge. And that's what, when I did that disc assessment, I was like, I can't imagine why anyone would actually want to work with me when I'm in that creative process, because it can be
Well,
quite
it's a
difficult.
few, right? It's not everyone
Mm-hmm.
on purpose. And I think that's something as owners, it's important to remind
Mm-hmm.
ourselves there's a reason why we're in the role we're in and other people are in the role they're in, and
Mm-hmm.
that's in their strengths. And we don't need to overwhelm. There's going to be your leadership team or your select few or your,
Mm-hmm.
kind of right-hand person that you're the people who do that creative process together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to have a plan in place before bringing
Mm-hmm.
it to the team a lot of the time. It kind of depends on the situation, right? If you're collaborating together on a new innovation idea for the company, you might welcome a kind of structured brainstorming process with some parameters or, sharing the intention behind it. But not everyone is going to want to be in that process with you because it can it can create confusion and fear and,
Mm-hmm. It can be
if it's
very
not completely
destabilizing.
fleshed. Right.
Yes. Yes. But that, you know, lends credence to the importance of putting those foundational systems in place. And you can be really innovative with those. The systems can be so exciting.
Yeah.
Don't be shaking your head, Kendall.
I love a good system. I think Anna knows me by now. I'm more of I build the system as we're creating it and as we're jumping into it most of the time. But I do appreciate building a foundationally solid things
Yeah.
as much as we can, as much as we can.
Tell me, Kendall, you're somebody who has gone through the process of expanding a clinic.
Yes.
What drove you to do that? What was compelling about it?
Yeah. There's always an intention, always a why. I was just reading, I couldn't believe I've never read Oprah Winfrey's book. And it's like the 10-year anniversary. It's called What I Know for Sure. And I'm listening to it on audiobook now, and she narrates it. So it's quite enjoyable. But there's a part in it where she says, when she had her talk show, and she said, at one point, I decided to tell the whole staff when they come to me with an idea for change or, a new topic or to do something differently or do something better, that the first thing they have to share with the whole group is their intention or their why behind it, right? Which is what many of us do naturally because we're creating, but it's really important to name that and say, well, why would we do this? Because I think a lot of business owners, especially solo providers, end up hiring team members and growing their business unintentionally
Mm-hmm.
because they get to a place of being full themselves and they feel like, well, this is the natural step or this is what people do. But why? Right? What's your
Yeah.
core reason for doing that? So with our second location, we were in the depths of COVID and I, like Anna, I really thrive in creative process. So, I'm at home. I was at my clinic some as much as possible and then at home quite a bit during that time. And so, I took up learning piano. I started painting. I'm not an artist. Dance is my art and I'll say it. I am not a visual artist, but started painting because it's creative process and piano is creative process. And so I'm, needing that energy in my life. And we've got our clinic location that had been established and we were kind of maxing out physically, in this space. And I'm walking down at our waterfront development that's a few blocks from our first location during the summertime. I want to say it must have been summer 2020. It had to have been summer 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that there were some so this is like a brand new waterfront development. It's got apartments and commercial spaces and retail spaces and restaurants and hotels. And so I was watching quite a few chain businesses go in down there. And I had this like really visceral, strong sense of, no, our community wants and needs local small businesses. And this is what will help our community thrive. And I want to be represented down there. I think we should be represented down there. And so there was part of it where we thought about moving our entire company to that new location and getting like a 10,000 square foot space and just really expanding it out. That became not a possibility with the options in that area. So I asked our real estate agent, can you find us a small location down there? And it could be a sister location to our clinic. So it sort of formed organically over time. The space that he found happened to be attached to one of the hotels down there. And so the idea of this, kind of spa location came to be because it made sense for the location. And calling it a spa was always a marketing, it's a marketing decision because we're a healthcare company. And so our approach to a spa, it's a wellness center. It's an integrative approach to a spa, natural, holistic, it's an extension of our company. But that was a very intentional marketing choice in, using that term. But that was the catalyst, was this motivation of our community needs this here and I want to create it. And I'm ready to create something positive during this very, very heavy negative time. And our clinic team, we work with a lot of trauma, a lot of chronic illness, and I was still seeing psychotherapy clients during that time in 2020 to 2021, 22. And it was a very, as all the listeners remember, it was a very, very heavy time. And, we're trying to be a therapist for people we're going through the same thing they are. And then also leading the team during that time. So it was a lot of heaviness, and I think my coping, it was an absolute coping mechanism as well. Like, let's jump into something really positive and create beauty from this. And that's what started it.
So I know when we've spoken, you've said that the joy of the expansion was in that creative process.
Yeah.
Are there any big lessons that you learned from that?
Lessons in the creative process of opening the spa?
Mm-hmm. Well, in the innovation area, like,
Yeah. Yeah, I think the biggest, there's so many learning curves in that. But if you are making a big transition or expansion or change, I'll tell everyone who will listen to read this book. It's called Managing Transitions. And I think William Bridges is the author, I think. It's a really simple concept that is common sense, but we don't think about it very much, right? That transitions are different from change. And when we are the creator and the creative person thinking through this new idea and we're going through the transition of it, we've kind of gone through that whole process and being ready over here for the change. Mm-hmm. But we often leave our team behind in that process. And so when we go to our team and say, okay, we're going to do this new thing, we're going to open a second location. And then they're at the beginning of the transition process and you're towards the end of it. And I think we've talked about this on the podcast before. So that piece is really, really important to understand. If you are going to open another location, if I was doing it again, I would have someone dedicated to being the expansion lead or expansion director or expansion communicator, like that they are literally in charge of staying in communication to all parties who need the information at all times, because there's so many moving parts. And I think another lesson not making assumptions that team members would or would not want to participate in that process,
Mm.
right? If
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be staying at the first location or if they're going to be moving to the second location, communication, coming back to communication all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What do they desire? And do they want to be up on every part of, this process, or do they want to just know how it affects them in the end? And they might feel overwhelmed by that information. But in an expansion like that, as the owner, you are fully immersed in that process every day. And so you're seeing all the wins, you're seeing all the challenges, you're really tracking every piece of that process. And so when we think about, okay, I had that catalyst in 2020 to say, you know what, I think we should do this. And then, the amount of time that it takes for lease agreements and building out the space, it was a blank shell. We opened in November 2022
Mm-hmm.
of that location. So that entire time, the most fun part for me, of course, was after the agreement's in place and construction is starting, and we're meeting with the interior designers every week to figure out how we're building this space. And that's a super fun, right? It's creative
Mm-hmm.
process all the time, but it's a long journey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That piece about the transitions is so helpful with any level of innovation, isn't it?
Mhm.
From putting in the most basic system to bringing
Yep.
in new software
Exactly.
to
Like a new
whatever
phone
it is.
system.
Mm-hmm.
A new phone system will throw your entire team out of balance,
How do you know
right?
that, Kendall?
You might have just done it. It that has the ability to throw your entire team out of balance. Absolutely, a new EHR transition or a new phone transition, a new software you want people to use. We have to bring people along to say, first of all, this is why I want to do this. This is my intention. This is how I think it will impact you for the better, right? This is how I think it will make your job easier. And then these are the 5 things I'm going to need you to do on your side.
Mm. And also the teaching bit. We have to
Also, how do
teach.
you use it?
Yes.
Sure.
Not
Of
here it
course.
is, off you go,
Right.
which
How do
I've
you
done
use
on
it?
many an occasion.
Yeah. Not making assumptions, right? Even with something, let's say like Slack, like incorporating Slack into your team, a communication messaging, app. It would be easy enough to assume like, yeah, I'm just going to send people the invite and they know how to use this. But what if they don't
Right.
know how to use it?
And being gentle with those that don't, and
Yeah.
understanding those that have difficulty with change and difficulty with transition and are not quite as excited about this new tool as you.
Right. Right. Also accepting that most of the team won't be as excited as you about some of these things because you understand in the background what it will actually do for the team and the company.
Right.
Right. What else is important about this, Anna? What do you want people to
Well,
know?
it's really interesting because I think we started off with the topic of innovation, and that innovation doesn't necessarily mean bigger. It doesn't necessarily mean more. It can mean deeper
Yeah.
as opposed to wider.
Right.
And I think we've gone through systems, we've gone through transitions, we've gone through inter-office communication, and it's all tied together, isn't it? It's all part of the big
It is.
picture.
Yeah. I think one of kind of the not necessarily simplest, but most straightforward ways to grow without getting bigger is to raise your prices.
Yes.
Do you
And
agree?
that can be really scary.
Yes, it can be. That's why I corrected myself. It's not necessarily simple, but it is a pretty direct way if you're feeling stuck with not enough profitability. And I think we would encourage you, make a plan, right? If you want to raise the prices in 3 months or 6 months, work backwards. Look at, okay, what do you need to raise them to and why? What's the intention of that? Will it actually make a difference? I can't tell you how many clinic owners raise their prices like $3 or $5 because that's what other people are doing or that's what they think they should do, but it doesn't actually get them where they need to be on the other side of it. So then 6 months later, they have to raise it more. So my encouragement would be, what do you actually need to raise it to for it to be sustainable? Why is that important? And then, you're drafting a letter to patients, you're preparing your providers to speak to their active patients, letting them know, okay, September 1st or January 1st, whenever it is, this is coming into effect. I want to make sure you're prepared. If there's any issues with that, then you have steps to work through it. And if anyone listening, actually, if you want to email me, I have a template for fee increases, if that's helpful to you, of language for providers. And it gives examples of if a patient, says this, then this is how we can support them, or if they, need to reduce frequency or all of those different things. So feel free to email me always, Kendall@wellnesscentercreators.com. I can send you the template, but, kind of step by step till that time comes of the fee increase. And we have found over and over again over the years, and you can speak to this too, we're a cash pay practice. It's really the providers feel more impacted by a fee increase, so they get really fearful about it. Most clients and patients understand that this is part of the process over time, and all their other places they go are doing it. And we really don't have much of an issue with it. And we have had to do like 15% increases before, and most people stick around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's an entire podcast in and of itself.
Yeah.
I think we should do a fee increase podcast episode.
Sure. Let's do it next time. Anna, thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you. It's always a pleasure.
We hope this was helpful today, and as always, feel free to reach out with questions or any new topics you would like Anna and I to discuss on the podcast.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Thanks for joining us on the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. We hope you found the episode insightful and helpful.
Remember to visit our website at wellnesscentercreators.com for show notes, additional episodes, and more resources to help you on your wellness center journey.
We always love hearing from our listeners. Your feedback, questions, and experiences are invaluable to us and help us shape the content we create.
So please don't hesitate to reach out to us anytime. You can contact us through our website or via social media. We're here to support you.
If you know someone who could benefit from the information and insights shared on this podcast, please take a moment to share the show with them. Together, we can help more health and wellness professionals create thriving practices.
Thank you again for tuning in and for being part of a Wellness Center Creators community. Your dedication to providing exceptional patient care is truly inspiring.
We can't wait to share more with you in the next episode. Until then, keep creating, innovating, and making a difference in your patients' lives. See you next time on the Wellness Center Creators Podcast.